All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Robinhood Weekly. This is episode number 10. We have taken a 2-week break because of Tanner. He was sick, and unfortunately, we weren't able to do this really important podcast for 2 weeks. So, Tanner,
Shame
how
on
do you
you,
feel
Tanner.
about this?
It was slightly my fault to be actually true. It was slightly my fault, but I hope everyone knows I am taking blame for things that weren't fully in my control. And Amit was also very sick.
I was. But you admitted you were sick first before I messaged the group chat. You're like, guys, I'm sick. I was like, oh, cool, because I'm sick too. But Tanner's fault. So there we go.
Yeah, man, traveling takes it out of you. I mean, but we're back, and yeah, it's crazy. We just missed all the time that we're coming back is a disaster. But things are well internally at Robinhood, and I can't wait to talk to you guys about it.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this thing, dude. Last episode was February 4th, around about this time. We went all the way up to 65. We missed this week. Then we came all the way down to 45. We missed that week. And now we're back to basically 45. So we got a lot to talk about in terms of what happened with Robin.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay, cool. So I think we'll get started with earnings recap. I know earnings seems like it was a year ago, but it was only 2 weeks ago. So I think we'll get started with that and we'll pull up some numbers here and talk about it. But before we get into the nitty gritty numbers, raw takeaways. Let's start off with Roy on Q4, which kind of blew all of our expectations away. But what did you think about the quarter?
Yeah, I mean, it was an incredible quarter. We had high expectations, and we were hoping they get to 100% revenue. They did. They smashed that. Their EPS absolutely destroyed things. You know, a lot of that was a tax credit. They haven't fully realized all of their tax credits, but a good chunk of it is certainly realized. And I love, even though they don't do guidance, they did cost control guidance, so OpEx guidance. And they showed us, where they're expecting that, and also SBC, and those look very, very good as well. They're showing they have some credit loss provisions that they're rotating because they need to with the credit card stuff and the optics of how that works too. But just an amazing quarter, and I don't think the market believes it.
Yeah, it was an insane quarter, and honestly, another part that I really wanted to highlight was the amount of gold members that they're actually attaching. Like, it was weird because investor relations told us that it was at a 30% attach rate for new cohorts, but yet they brought on 450,000 new members to gold and added 850,000 total new members, or about 53% of total members went to gold. So what does that mean? Well, if it is a 30% attach rate, then existing members who were not switching for a while are finding new reasons to go gold now. Okay. And that's really exciting. But if it is a 30% attach rate, we look at where we are, which they've already said they're rounding at, or they've probably already passed now, 3 million gold members. They added 300,000 new members in January alone, 310,000. So if it's a 30% attach rate, that's another 100,000 members just in January for gold. And now we're going to a gold event in March. There's going to be a gold event that we saw people leak on Twitter. I don't know, what are they going to offer there to potentially entice a higher attach rate for people to then come over, or at their crypto event, or at Hood Summit?
Do you know anything about this gold event, Tanner?
I saw some people on Twitter saying that they're starting to get invited as customers.
Are you going to be there by any chance?
I don't know yet.
Okay, just wondering if you're going to be there. No, I agree, dude. Gold subscribers were absolutely crazy. So I think let's go through some top line metrics and then we'll get into the gold subs, because that was also incredible. Robinhood Gold will be happening sometime this month, and the three of us on the screen might be there. We might not be there. We'll see. But a lot of exciting updates we're going to see from.
It's a fun time if you end up going.
Yeah, there you go. Look at that.
It's a good time.
Exciting stuff.
No, that was a slide from my old thing, but I like the picture.
Okay, so let's talk about top line growth metrics. So we passed $1 billion in revenue. Tanner was the only one who got that argument, or that analysis right. Roy and I thought it would be like 920 to 950. So Tanner got to $1 billion. 16 billion in net deposits, 193 billion in AUC after January. That's above 200 billion. Funded customers now 25 million. Gold subs again, 2.64 million, probably 3 million by now already. And then obviously their net income was really exciting. It says 916 million. That's because of a tax benefit, but in reality, it's about 54 cents a share, which still beat the analyst expectations. Were these top line numbers to you, Tanner, the numbers that warrant a 30% jump, which is what we saw, or is the stock still in the right spot at 45 after these numbers?
Yeah, I think it was the operating leverage that made the stock bump. Like they always talked about that, but what they talk about and what they actually can actually do is two different things. And so the fact that adjusted operating expenses or even on a GAAP base went up just so slightly, but yet this is what happened on a year-over-year basis, and total net revenue is insane. And that's why we got to 106% rule of 40.
Yeah.
Rule of 100. That doesn't exist. Each individual line item on that rule of 40 passed the rule of 40, by the way, both the revenue growth and the adjusted EBITDA margin. That doesn't happen. So yeah, I think that it was worth the jump up, but we're seeing exactly what can happen to Robinhood if there is any shakiness in their, the volumes, right? And this is where I can't wait to see what February numbers are going to be, because I think I don't think people are going to be disappointed. I think everyone's sort of anticipating a slower February in terms of total volume, but that's probably what we're going to see. And so I want to see what that does to the stock.
Yeah, same question for you, Roy. So OPEX was up 18% year over year. Revenue was up 115%. Rule of 40 at 106%. Do those numbers warrant a material gain in the stock from these levels?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like most companies have to dramatically increase OPEX to actually be able to increase revenue. And 90% of Robinhood's revenue costs are cost controlled. And even those that are not necessarily, like they still have fewer employees than they had, 3 years ago by a good amount. They're implementing AI and doing that well. Like I found some really interesting things, if we have time today, in the 10K, and a lot of it was related to OPEX and what they're doing, and then some interesting things with stablecoin that's on their platform. But they're just top. It's not just if Robinhood is just about top line, and that was it, 100% revenue growth. Awesome. They deserve a premium. That's great. But also expenses rose, 80%. Be look, it's still good, but not really amazing. But yeah, what they managed to do is it's unicorn level. Companies usually, first, you can't be a hardware company to do that and have that kind of margin usually. And second, even among software companies, that's almost unheard of.
Appreciate you throwing in the usually.
Yeah, I'm an NVIDIA shareholder too, so I had to say that. But they're not a pure hardware company anymore. So they're a hybrid.
Tanner, I blame you for this NVIDIA nonsense, bro. I sat up here for an hour and I debated against you saying NVIDIA is cyclical, and you convinced me it's going to be a thing. And I'm suckered into NVIDIA now. So
you gave us financial advice.
You gave us financial advice.
Okay. How am I wrong? What part of NVIDIA's
now I think you're right.
are tearing up my thesis here?
I agree with your thesis now. Now I have to agree with your stupid thesis because I have no.
we're bag holders.
Yeah.
A1 bag holders right now on NVIDIA. So,
dude, I'm sitting pretty. I bought more today. I haven't even been buying Robinhood because the dips that I'm seeing in NVIDIA are just blowing my mind. Look at the freaking PE ratio at the exact same price as Apple. Okay.
It's insane.
How is this possible? And you know what? It doesn't just say that Apple or that NVIDIA is underpriced. It actually says a lot about how overpriced I believe Apple to be.
Oh,
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, Robinhood's PE, speaking of PE, I brought this up when we were about the same level, a couple of weeks ago. It's hey, this is very attractive even just from a PE standpoint. And right now it's sitting at 30. That's not forward PE. That's current PE. The market, part of the reason is if you look at forward PE, it's, they don't have as many tax credits. They have 85 million left in their tax credits. So, that's one of those things that will impact their earnings. But it's man, the market is not giving them the benefit of the doubt. They're thinking, oh, this crypto quarter, it's a one-off. Hey, maybe it is. Maybe we go to crypto winter. But yeah, man.
Yeah,
that is a one-off thing though with the tax benefit. So
yeah. I mean, look,
I think they have a little bit left, right?
They have. I had the exact amount. $88 million left from the 10K.
Got you. Yeah. What were some of the other tidbits that you found in the 10K?
Yeah, let me.
Real quick, hold on. Let's finish a couple more metrics and earnings, and then we'll get into the juicy 10K. So let me just bring up some topics and get your guys' take. They bought back 5 million shares. Tanner, your thoughts on that?
Great. You know what I said? So we didn't give enough credit to this during the earnings call. Before they went live, I said, well, what I hope they try to achieve is that they buy back enough stock to offset how much their stock-based compensation is. And that's exactly one of their goals that they said during the earnings call. And we gave no credit to it because we were too worried about our doing live calls at the time. But that is a significant milestone if they can pull that off. Like the speed at which Robinhood did that, I don't know. That's very exciting if they can actually do that for 2025. That's amazing, because then if a company has too much stock-based compensation or just dilution in their share counts, like even what potentially SoFi might be facing, is that you let analysts model it out themselves, and then they can be poor to your EPS without you having any control. If you say you're going to keep it flat, right, then they have no reason in their models over the next couple of years to do anything other than to put it flat or down. Okay. And so it allows them to model out better EPS going forward without having to potentially price in any bit of dilution. I love it.
Yeah. Roy, your quick thoughts on the share buybacks and the fact that trade PMR closed, they still have $5 billion in cash. I mean, they have a pretty damn healthy balance sheet right now.
Yeah. I mean, like they absolutely do. I thought it closed faster than I had expected, to be honest. And Robinhood handles acquisitions very well. I think that's part of it. We saw, at least I think we talked about it here, a new news article where they were basically they announced the acquisition, and then like within like a week, I think maybe 2 weeks, they were having like, hey, this is a deal. If you want to stay with us, this is what you're looking at in the future as far as compensation, stock-based compensation, and all of that. And we need to know like within the end of the week. And it's like, man, they really wanted to move this forward and leverage it. And I love that as a shareholder. I don't like when acquisitions take, and sometimes they do just because of the complexities of regulation in the market. And it's a complex acquisition, but I prefer when it's like closed within a quarter. That's amazing. So yeah, it's awesome. What was the other piece?
No, that's it. We can go 10K now.
All right, 10K. So a few things. So Say Technologies, essentially flat. Proxy Materials, that's one of those quarter two bumps that we'll look at here when we get closer to time. But what I thought was interesting was the Sherwood Media piece. Sherwood Media launched as a new venture in 2023, like midway through, I believe. $11 million, which is not like the most massive amount of revenue. But for launching in 2023, and also the regard that other investors like Josh Brown have for Sherwood Media, like, is incredible. And I think that number, like, this isn't going to be like one of those meaningful, like $100 million annual run rate anytime soon, but maybe in like 3, 4, 5 years, I could see it get there. And this is one of those things that people just kind of forget about, Say Technologies and Sherwood Media. So I thought that was cool. There were some really interesting comments as well, just from what they were thinking looking ahead. We believe that we are strategically positioned at the center of two major platform shifts: AI and cryptocurrency and blockchain technology, which have the potential to transform the industry. And they mentioned a lot of different ways that it could be implemented, or actually not just could, but are being implemented across their ecosystem. And with cryptocurrencies, we believe cryptocurrency and blockchain technology will fundamentally transform financial infrastructure by offering significant efficiencies as blockchain reduces the need for traditional financial intermediaries such as clearinghouses, transfer agents, and payment processors, leading to lower operating costs. In other words, digital payment rails. And that's an amazing, amazing thing. It's something that I think that pretty much every fintech is going for, but that's going to be benefiting Robinhood as well. There's a lot of things they can do with that. Now, this, I want to get your guys' feedback because this is really interesting. They actually have $361 million worth of stablecoin. This isn't that that their users are holding, but it's Robinhood themselves. And USDG itself only has a market cap of 100 million. So it's not all of the global dollar. So what do you think is going on with that?
I saw whenever you posted this, I have no clue. So Yeah.
Is it yield that they're like? I don't know.
Yeah, but you could do that in cash. So
Yeah,
I don't know. It was hard for me to like wrap my head around.
Yeah, that's one question I'd love to ask. If we're at the gold event, maybe we'll pick their brain and find out what's the we might even hear it there at the event. So I don't think like this is something. I don't know what it is, but it's something. Any thoughts on it?
I still don't know what the hell a stablecoin is. So
you need to find out. This is the year of stablecoin. It's actually one of the reasons why I've been incredibly bullish on like the fintechs, especially. Although there's a lot of bearishness right now, and I understand that, and I'm actually not happy about what's happening near term. But yes, stable coins have a massive ramification for pretty much any type of financial technology. Banks, Robinhood, like Vlad mentioned, being able to settle like instant settlement with stocks. This is how you get there. It's stablecoin and tokenization. So gold credit card. So the X1 that they acquired back in 2023, they had their own special algorithm, own special sauce. They looked at income more than FICO scores. But what's really interesting is there's a shift here, and let me see if I can zoom in to see it. Did I not capture this? Oh, here we go. Yeah, they're actually using FICO scores for the Robinhood Gold, and it seems like, at least for the early cohorts, they're wanting a not just like the highest earners, or not highest earners, highest FICO scores, but they want to mix just to kind of see, I'm guessing, just to see how it actually performs. And the other thing that was interesting too is, I don't think I had it here, they have an agreement with Coastal to actually buy some of those balances that are on the gold credit card. And so they continue to buy and allocate towards that. And then they earn some interest yield from that as well. It might have been, there's a tax credit thing. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, the buying thing from Coastal, I think I messaged you guys on that. I didn't do a post because I don't understand it enough. Like, it seemed like an unusual strategy. And Tanner, maybe you know more on that as far as if that's a normal thing for those that are using somebody else to as the not proxy. What's the right word? And then you buy that balance is on there. It was just something that was different. What do you think, Amit?
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway was the Sherwood Media stuff. Like, I think Sherwood Media could be a really big, or I think it could be another $100 million business, right? It's not there yet. I think they can get there. They are ramping up their advertising ambitions aggressively. They have 40 million subscribers with Robinhood Snacks. That's a part of the business we don't really talk about. But if they can start aggressively pursuing that and just make that, because that I would imagine, even if the market takes a crap, hopefully that advertising revenue doesn't go away. And so I think what we're seeing right now in Robinhood stock price, which we'll talk about in a second, is the fluctuations against the volatility of the market. And we just need more streams of revenue. And I think Vlad knows this as well, which is why he's putting out all these ideas into the ether around different business lines. But we need more diversified revenue streams. And we don't have that yet. And I don't know if we're going to be in a bull market forever. So it would be important to do that.
Doesn't feel like it.
Let's break some news. And talk about new diversified revenue streams really quickly. Just while we were sitting here, I was on the Robinhood careers page and just always trying to find little things that they're working on. And I found a couple cool ones already. So if you could share the screen, what you'll see here is a couple of them. One, staff product desire for AI investing. That this was interesting. You'll be part of a team dedicated in creating cutting-edge investment products and transforming for the future of finance. You'll define the company strategy for leveraging AI in investing and drive launching new products, working closely with a passionate group of data scientists. I thought that was interesting. This one is very cool. Brokerage 0 to 1. And if we go down to, where is it? Right here, you'll work closely with a cross-disciplinary team to give our retail traders a cutting edge in the market. Shh. We'd love to tell you more, but it's top secret for now.
What is this called? 0 to 1?
Well, they're calling it 0 to 1 because they're launching a new product, but they're not saying what it is probably because of me, because I've been freaking tweeting out everything that they're doing. So now they're not even leaking it anymore.
That's true. That Vlad probably sees your tweets and he's like, all right, we got to hide this shit now.
They put in 2 new job descriptions for Singapore. So, but what I like about this one is it says trading service specialist and money movement. There was some talk online about they're going to Singapore, but it's only going to be for crypto. And this just completely debunks this. This talks about, we want your expertise in trading I forget where I saw it, but it was talking about futures, options, everything. So right here, display mastery of financial concepts like equity trading, margin, derivatives. So, they're going to Singapore for more than just that. And it's not just for one role. They're hiring a few roles here. And these people need to be from previous Singapore fintechs and tech in general.
I do agree that they are starting to get a lot more serious about different parts of the business. I mean, even Vlad said to Bloomberg the other day, they think Robinhood could be a spot where you can buy your house or sell your house, right? Real estate. Maybe he's talking about from a tokenized perspective, but like, what was your reaction to that? Just this idea that they're throwing out, basically becoming the one-stop shop for any financial decision you make.
I don't
Yeah.
like it personally. He talked about an investor day guarding against doing too much at the same time, too much too soon. And that's one of the questions I asked him in that interview as well. And I don't think that they have a clear advantage. Maybe I'm missing something in that kind of environment. They're not a bank, so they can't get the same benefits as a bank does, lending against their balance sheet. So I don't know. I'd have to hear more, but that doesn't excite me at all. It interests me, but it doesn't excite me.
I think a couple things. One, I think that's very far out. Let's make sure that stablecoins become a large use case before tokenized deeds on real estate become a thing. But then thinking that, I don't know, Robinhood would be the place to trade it. But I do think that the mindset is true of the future products that are going to come out, Robinhood will be a front runner in all of them. And I think that is very much like what I love about Robinhood is that once you build out the products, a lot of it is automated. And it's what allows their operating expenses to be so low and for them to cut their headcount by 33% and operate more efficiently than they did previously is because there's so much automation just built into the structure of this type of business. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No,
from the 10K, like I showed it on page. Eddie called it out too. And I want to actually just read this paragraph because it's amazing. If other companies were saying this and we didn't have a grasp of the culture and leadership, that'd be one thing. But if you want to throw it up there, you can, but I'll just read it. This is from the 10K. Artificial intelligence. We currently expect our adoption of AI to occur in 3 phases. By augmenting internal operations, which we're already seeing, by enhancing customer-facing products, which seems like it's coming this year, and by developing sophisticated autonomous financial agents. We have successfully created operational efficiencies and brought in top-tier AI talent, including experts from leading frontier AI labs, to accelerate our advancement in AI. Additionally, we've begun to incorporate early applications of generative AI into our product offerings, which I've seen and it works, such as with our customer service flows. As a technology company, we believe we are able to rapidly adopt new tools on the way to building complex AI agents and expect to introduce significantly more in the coming year, including our first AI native advisory products.
I think they are going to do some really big things with AI this year. And I think if you guys remember this question from the earnings call, someone asked in the Say Technologies questions, are you guys going to make Robinhood a research investment platform? And Vlad said yes. Like he didn't even sugarcoat it. He said yes.
It'd be hard to say no.
Yeah. So I think gold is going to have some updates. Again, this is really my wild guess where maybe they acquired Pluto for a reason last year. And I think they start making an AI LLM that helps you with what is NVIDIA's PE compared to Apple, right? If you could just ask that question and get a response immediately, maybe that's something that would drive a lot of engagement on the platform.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think if you were to offer that for free or something like this, you'd have a massive advantage over some of these other financial prompting apps, especially if it's built into your brokerage. I could see them adding that on. There were some rumors about what the name of this upcoming event is. Did you guys hear these?
No.
I think it was called the Lost City of Gold or something.
I got confirmation on that. That's what it's called.
You did?
Yeah. I messaged, I guess it was, I saw the invite. I'll just say that.
Okay, got you.
So yeah, it's called that, which I love the name. There's a lot of history behind that. In the United States and everything. When the Spanish came over, a little bit after, Christopher Columbus was under that banner, but later, a lot of those early explorers, and they were conquistadors, frankly, that's what they were looking for. Is there was myths, legends, and stories about the seven cities of gold and El Dorado specifically, also Fountain of Youth, all those sort of things. And so a lot of their explorations were about finding that. Now, of course, nasty, brutal history, violence, bloodshed, greed, you name it. Like those are like Cortez being, probably the biggest one. But it goes back to that kind of mythos, which I really like that they're tapping into. That they had the legend idea, and then like this is one of those legendary historical things. But this time it's like, hey, we're going to do something that is so attractive that it drives volume into the Robinhood ecosystem, just because people want, something that they thought was just a myth, and now that we're delivering that. So love that idea.
I just thought it meant that you could buy houses on Robinhood if you had Robinhood Gold. No, I'm just kidding.
What do you think the gold event is going to be about? Like, what do you think they're actually going to show off here?
I think it's going to be around their money product, because of that comment that they made on their investor day about they are cooking something up for that event that's going to be as interesting as the Robinhood Gold card.
They did say that. They said it would be as sexy as 3% cash back.
I think I don't know, man. I can't get past something around buy now, pay later, or
that's not sexy though, dude. No one
it
cares
is sexy.
No, it's not. Buy now, pay later is layaway. They just rebranded it. Like it's so boring, dude. That's not interesting.
It's sexy if you give it cash back. I don't know.
And they can back end it with the stable coin. Like I think the stable coin is going to be a part of it. And it just like Amit, if you don't like really fully understand stable coin, basically just know that, well, it's instant, like instant settlement of stuff, which is great. It is programmable, which is awesome. It's trackable, which, it can be good, it can be bad. And then like it just, depending on what ecosystem it's on, like it can cost basically next to nothing. That is the cheapest way to settle anything. And it's good for consumers. It's good for Robinhood as far as margins. And so if they build that into their system, that's great. And like the way that they're talking about from the 10K, the crypto and blockchain technology from Investor Day, their investments in USDG, like they don't, like what we've seen in the past is Robinhood is not like PayPal under Dan Schulman, where it's like, hey, let's just buy this cool business and then we'll kind of forget that we own it. They have a freaking plan. And when they buy something like Pluto or where they invest in something like USDG, it's not just them saying, hey, maybe we'll try this out and we'll see. No, it's all part of that ecosystem. It's all part of that plan. And I think we'll get a peek at that.
I think it's going to do something with AI investment research. I really do. I feel like that's going to be what they say is the reason to get more people to buy gold. You guys are going the money route, which I think it could be. I think it should be multiple things. Like last time it was 1% deposit,
yeah,
credit card, UI, all this crazy stuff. So they'll probably have a couple of different elements. This is also their second annual event in gold. So, and they grew gold subs to almost 3 million. Like they're probably thinking this could be a $1 billion business one day. Right now it's almost 150 million. So like to 10x this, they just need to provide 10x the value.
Yeah, I mean, last quarter was a 53% attach rate of their new member count that they actually ended up bringing on. If they could get this to a 50% attach rate of overall member count, like this is a huge product. And then the stickiness from it is crazy. So
yeah, if they get 50% members, that's 12 million people a month paying $5. That's 60 times 12. That's $720 million a year.
I think that's less important than people's knowledge that they know that they're paying for it, and so they don't want to shop elsewhere. Almost like Costco. They're like, oh, if I go to Walmart, I'm kind of like wasting my money because I already have this Costco subscription.
Yeah.
So why don't I take advantage of the additional pricing that I'm getting because I'm paying for this thing already? So I think more people will bring more assets over. But I don't know, maybe they introduce platinum, some form of platinum here for a certain type of gold user. I don't know.
Okay, so let's talk about the decline in the stock. So we got to 66. Everyone was happy. Everyone was up shit ton of money. And then that went away pretty quickly as the markets overall corrected. And I struggle to even say correction because the S&P is down 0.32%. So this is more of a growth stock kind of correction. Here's the question. Is Robinhood too contingent right now on the dynamics of the market? Roy, your thoughts?
I mean, it's cyclical, and if people feel like that we're entering crypto winter, which I think will happen this year, that will impact the company and also the stock, and it'll pull back. The real reason why it's pulling back, though, like there's a lot of reasons. There's great. I thought it was great. As far as the crypto summit that's happening later, I think that's a great thing. It's a good thing for Robinhood too. The United States actually developing a strategic reserve, whether you think it should be all Bitcoin or not. I think overall that's a good thing, and it's good for the whole crypto industry and good for Robinhood too, even if it's not being used in that way. But the real reason why the stock is down is because we finally got Tevis to buy in, and when he buys something, it creates a dip that everybody can enjoy and buy in heavy, and that's the number one reason of why it's down so much.
Okay, Tanner, why do you think the stock's down?
Crypto mainly. So if I just share my screen, same old chart as always. If we look at January numbers, January tried to hold up the same similar volume as December, but slightly lower. And we saw $20 billion, which was lower than November and December for traded volume for Robinhood, which means I remember doing the math here. I don't know where I stored it. I'm sure I could find it for you guys. But February was not, it was more than 30% down from the previous quarters. So it meant that Robinhood was taking some level of market share from total volume traded. But February is even further down than from where January is, and actually quite like much lower. If you look at just even the bars here, you can see just the significant change from where it is here. You don't even have to look generally at some of these numbers, but if it comes in at sub $10 billion, that'll spook investors for February trading volume, and I think that might be where we end up landing. So that's why I think we're down.
I actually am really proud of myself on not buying the dip too early. Usually when Hood drops, I'm such a just Hood bull. I'll buy that dip, even if it's like 3% or whatever. This time, when we went from 65 to 62, I was like, oh no, this is not going to be a small drop, because you could see what's happening with Palantir and Nvidia. You're like, they're not going to let Hood be at 65 while the whole market's tanking. And so I waited until 45 to buy the dip. I think the lowest was 44, and we might get there tomorrow, but I'm pretty happy about that. I think I got a good discount, 31% from the highs. I think if you don't buy that dip, I don't know what dip you buy. And then, could this thing go down below 40? Yeah, it could happen. A lot of people that just entered Hood and haven't been in it as long as us, they freak out when I say that. And I'm like, you don't understand the business then. You don't understand the business. If we have a crypto winter, if we have, I don't want to say a bear market, but just a market with not tons of volatility to the upside, maybe more to the downside, it does. Yes, Robinhood's going to make money in all those people that are selling stuff with payment for order flow. But those people are not going to put more money into the platform. You're not going to get new users organically because no one's going to care about the market. People are not going to be selling and buying options as much. Like, you're just going to have overall activity decrease, which means they will show year-over-year declines in growth. Now, granted, I think this year is still going to be relatively bullish, even if we're going through some volatility, so it'll be okay. But you've got to be ready to hold this stock as it goes down, because there's a long-term vision on this as a financial institution, not just a trading proxy. But in the short term, it is going to be a trading proxy. Having said that, or Tanner, you're going to say something?
No, I was going to change the subject, but if you're going to change the subject, then
what's your subject? We'll see if it's better.
I was wondering what you guys think about Wall Street's expectations for, the years coming up.
That's for Robinhood or the market?
For Robinhood. I think right now, full year 2025, they're expecting about a 26% increase in revenue. And then for 2026, it's an 8.8% increase year over year.
Well, next quarter, dude, they're expecting 920 million.
Yeah, very interesting.
They want another billion quarter. I don't know, dude. Obviously, expectations are high, and Hood can live up to it, but they've got to execute to live up to it.
Those are high expectations. So we thought that for fourth quarter too, but it's weird because they're like so bullish on the near term, and then the further out you get, the less and less bullish. And it's cyclical, and that's part of the reason. But it's weird. Like those expectations are just downright bearish in 2026.
This is a FinChat just showing off Wall Street's expectations visualized. So this was the last quarter that we ended up seeing. These next three are expectations. So 40% year over year, 36.6% year over year, and then 43% year over year. Obviously, a much higher tranche than what we've seen previously, but you can't keep holding up those really, really high growth rates, especially whenever the comps take a jump up over here, right? So what do you guys think about this? Like, obviously, December's numbers are going to be pretty hard to match, but I actually don't think that they're impossible to beat in 2025, just maybe not in Q1. And I think that it's very hard for Wall Street to ever even guide this company at all, or well, not just Wall Street, anyone, but.
Well, yeah, like with the monthly data dumps, it's helpful, but quarter one, it's going to be tough. Quarter two looks more reasonable to me, even though it's up slightly, but we have the seasonality of Say Technologies adding like 38, 40 something million. I'll have to look again, which is a nice bump. But I don't know. It's kind of weird because in quarter four, it felt like that they were expecting too much. And then we remember 90% cost control they ended up beating. So we'll have to see. But it's not, It's just so weird that they're so bullish in the short term, and then in 2026 they're bearish.
Well, in 2026, it's a midterm year, and the midterms tend to suck for the market. So maybe the analysts are like, "All right, midterms are going to be."
You think they're factoring that in, and also, I mean, the how do I say this? Like, they've tried to hype up their ability to be on both sides of the market. So in high interest rate environments, they're a certain way. If they're in a low interest rate environment, they're another way. And so they feel like they can field out both of those. By 2026, what does the revenue diversification look like? I mean, at this rate of new products, I mean, we probably have multiple new $100 million product lines. I mean, that's the craziest thing about Robinhood. Whenever I find like trying to model them out in any sort of way, it's like, okay, well, this is factoring in nothing of what Vlad pulls out of a hat.
And speaking of new product lines, so you don't have no access to Robinhood, Tanner, but Amit, have you tried out futures yet?
I have it. I haven't actually bought a futures contract, but I have it.
Yeah, I have it. I've seen that I have it. I haven't used it yet. It's been a busy season for me personally, and it feels like, and I expect I'm not the only one like this, that it just they're not featuring it, like right there in the app, like, hey, you got this exciting new. Maybe it might just be that they're wanting to have it a bit of a softer launch, like people are aware of it, and the people that really want to use it are the ones that are instantly like, oh man, futures, I've been waiting for this.
Yeah.
It wouldn't shock me if through the year, like things are working well, that they're like, hey, here's some learning tools. Here's, on the app itself, they're like, hey, futures is live, try it out. But it's a little bit, for me anyway, it's not as natural of a product to learn about as options. It's very different than what I do. So I'll have to put in some time researching when I have time.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, that's one of those new products that they did mention that they expect to have a 9-figure run rate.
Yeah, they've popped it up on my screen a couple times, but I have been too busy as well, so I haven't really looked into it. I agree. If they start seeing higher adoption, they said index options is doing 15 million already. Legend, which now is crypto, is doing 50 million run rate. If they see more adoption of it, which I imagine they will, that's when they'll start trying to get you to realize the value in using futures. It is a more levered product which requires margin and all this stuff. So I'm sure they're going to have to try to tiptoe how they do it. But
I thought it was interesting that they even gave run rates on these products. You know, oh, this company's been out, or this product's been out for 3 weeks. Here's our annualized revenue on these products. I'm like, that must not be accurate.
Well, I think they're trying to tell the street, hey, we launched shit, it starts making money. Even if they can give us any number, I think the street's like, all right, so it's working, right?
Yeah.
Were those annualized?
Yeah. So Legend, how do you say it? Yeah, I did it backwards. I think Legend brought in about $8.3 million. And then the index options was something even smaller than that.
But Legend's revenue is just transaction revenue from Legend, right?
Yeah.
So it's not really different from transaction revenue, technically.
No. But the important part is that Legend has a total addressable market that doubles their mobile trading side.
That's
right.
fair.
That's the important part. And they just want to make sure that ball is rolling. And then if they can get that product up to something that people feel like it's worth switching to, or even more than just switching to, I think just upgrading and not moving away from Robinhood, upgrading to the Legend platform from mobile would be a much stickier long-term base.
Yeah. And I'm really curious about Legend too, is I know that there's some people that are basically just desktop traders and some that are mobile platform traders. And so there is a greater TAM, with a better desktop market. But I wonder how cannibalistic Legend is, because like for myself, I've used Legend, the desktop side of it, because I have Legend now, more than I did Robinhood's desktop platform. But as a result, I'm doing less on the mobile app.
But why is cannibalizing bad? Because it's still revenue at the end of the day.
Yeah, but I think what he means is that is all the transaction new volume, or would it have already been existing volume?
Yeah,
okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, but there's certainly some new. I'm just kind of curious, like how much is new versus cannibalized. So, but I will say, I ended up buying some vertical spreads on Hood, on Robinhood Legend, and it felt so good.
I bought some vertical spreads too, but I did it on my phone. Dude, I just love using it on my phone, bro. Like I'm just like, that's why I don't think I've ever, unless I actually start day trading or whatever, which I don't know, maybe a couple years from now, but like I just love doing it on my phone. So, but there's another market for the people that do it on desktop.
Yeah, I definitely do a lot of desktop, and I have the most simplistic trading style ever. So, and I still prefer desktop. I feel like I can't miss the details or anything like that. I don't know why. That's how I learned. I like doing it.
I love when people complain about Robinhood's app, and I saw this by actually somebody I very much respect. They're not a Robinhood user, obviously, and they talked about confetti. I'm like, dude, confetti went away like 2-3 years ago, and they're like,
they need to bring it back, bro. Like when my options fell, they should bring it back.
It's gold confetti. That's the whole thing. Mic drop. See you later.
I cannot believe some of the bear comments I still get of just people that are upset about GameStop. I'm like, yo,
dude, it's one of those things where it's like almost like survivorship bias or whatever it is. Like those are the areas that they are going to patch the most. Like that will never happen again because it was such a terrible moment in Robinhood's history. And also they were freaking so young of a company to face such an unprecedented, unbelievable occurrence. Like, I don't know. They weren't the only one. There were massive brokerages that could never have seen that coming. I just think, even going from trade plus 2 down to trade plus 1 is going to change that. If, assets get tokenized, that'll never happen again. Never, ever. So I don't know.
Yeah. And they really screwed up, but yeah, I think that's a one-off.
Yeah, like what I learned from every time I hear someone say about is that it had such a big impact in 2021 that it took years for their brand to recover. But at this point, I think the brand is recovered. The stock is obviously recovered. The company is a new company. So if you still, kind of buy into that, then I guess it's just old news at this point. Jason right here says, no way active future traders would use Hood. To be honest, futures market is all about prop firms right now. Literally 1/10 the margin requirement of Hood. I agree with that to an extent. I mean, I do agree. I don't think out of their 25 million users, a significant chunk are actively using Hood for their future trades. But that's where Hood's got to make it enticing for them, right? In some capacity, whether it's the commissions, the fees, or maybe Robinhood Gold makes it even better. But I agree. This is going to take some time for them to build. But they only launched it in October. And so the fact that it's already working to an extent, I think is still important.
Is it working?
Well, do you count it with index options or no?
No.
Okay. So I guess we don't have any stats on if it's working. But if index options is working, I would hope there is some similarity in futures, even if it's not literally $15 million of annualized run rate. But to Roy's point, if they're not promoting it as much, they're probably trying to take it slow, which is fair.
Yeah. No, I think that it could be. I think it could have a Robinhood moment where the usual. It's not about attracting usual futures traders. It's about getting their audience onto futures, and then they find a real love for those products. Which I'm surprised they're already pushing it to you, Amit. Like it's popping up on your screen. You're not actively seeking it out. I think that's surprising.
Yeah, I had to seek it out. It did not pop up on my screen. I was like, I think that I might have seen a notification that it was live for me in the upper right where I had to click, but search for it, and it wasn't the easiest to get to. It wasn't one of those. I actually think that this year they're going to come out with an app redesign, or at least some level of customization there that is not there with the current Robinhood app. Like it's really good right now, but they mentioned that and they flashed that at the previous Gold event, if you guys remember. I thought that was cool.
Which one is that?
The initial Robinhood Gold that they had, basically a year ago, they had some customization on the app itself.
What happened with that?
I think they're nuking that UI, bro. Because one of my friends who had that UI, they reverted him back to the plain UI.
I hated it.
I was not the biggest fan of it, and I think they gave it to a cohort. The cohort probably didn't give them the right feedback, and they nuked it. So
I think, well, one, you're the leader of user experience or user interface, and then you're updating your user interface, I think is like super cutting edge. So I'll give them credit for even evolving what they're working on, even whenever they're number one. But I think the fact that you can cut out segments of the business, say, hey, I don't want crypto on here, I don't want these things on here, is actually like not good for the business if you're offering services there, or potentially maybe later on in life that they will start doing crypto or they will start doing these products, but they'll actually forget that Robinhood offers them because it's not in their UI. So get rid of that.
I love that this wasn't just a one-time thing that Vlad did where he's like, hey, what else do people want to add? Like he routinely asks that, listens, of course, Kelly in there with Canada.
Yeah.
But, there's a lot of good feedback and things that I would not have considered, but I'm like, hey, that's a good idea. So,
awesome. This is what I love about the company. First of all, I didn't like the new UI. My friend was using it and he actually was pissed off that they're taking away the UI because he got used to it. But they make decisions quick, right? If they realize it's not working, they're not going to try to force it onto people. They're just going to move on from it. And they're probably going to have a new version of this UI that I'm sure their R&D team is working on. But I don't hate that they're getting rid of it.
I love this chat. I love that Paper Gains is in here. Jose is in here. Everyone's just chilling.
Well, our boy Paper Gains has let's just say he's been buying a lot of Hood.
Really?
Oh, I mean, more Hood than you. It's his number one position by far. So that's why now he has to show up to Robinhood Weekly, because we three control the intellectual dialogue of his net worth.
Yeah, that's not true, but
it's going to zero.
Yeah,
he had a cost basis of $8. He violated that cost basis. Let's just say that over the past couple weeks. So
that's that's a smart move to do, though. Honestly, that's a hard thing to do as an investor, but needed in certain times.
What do you guys think about this? So we're not going to watch the full clip, but Vlad went on Jason's podcast, Calcanis, and he said, startups, we think we can become a marketplace for the secondary markets where employees of Discord, Stripe, OpenAI, etc., can sell their shares immediately onto a pool of investors like retail, aka Robinhood. And he even said, how is it easier to buy a meme coin than to get allocation to SpaceX?
Okay, so for real, I think I was with Roy at the time. I asked him this at the investor day, straight up. Do you remember this, Roy? He was like standing on stage and we were like, hey, SoFi's doing this. What about you? And he's like, honestly, it's not really needed that much. Like it's not a big market. And plus the private equity guys, they don't even really want this much liquidity because, it can fluctuate their stock. He was like, not really interested in it. Now he's like, I got this.
Wait, you asked
idea.
him this publicly or off the camera?
No, like on,
like when you were walking around basically with him?
What's the right answer?
It was in
front of a lot of people. It was in front of a lot of people.
It wasn't on video where you like
no.
Okay.
No, is that bad?
No, I'm just asking to confirm.
Okay, because I didn't know if maybe I did something wrong there. You got me flustered.
No, it's the same thing with sports betting, right? Like when he said we're getting into it, and then Bloomberg's like Robinhood competing with DraftKings, and they took it out of context. I think same thing here. Maybe what he said was that we're not as interested, but as they're going, because he spent 5 minutes on Jay Cal's podcast really fleshing out the idea. It sounds like he's pretty interested in it, dude.
Well, I think it's an amazing opportunity. That's why I think we were asking about it. But
one of the things I really respect about Robinhood, and I see it in Vlad too. It's not just lower down. Like when they had the gold event, one of those features was the 1% everything match, and that's gone away now. That's no more. Just because it wasn't working.
Yeah.
And they're not afraid to change their mind. They're not afraid to try things and be like, hey, this isn't working, and then pivot away from it.
They're not dogmatic at all.
Less credible leadership doesn't admit mistakes, or rarely does, and oftentimes sticks with a bad decision much longer than they actually should have, and it causes a lot of pain. So I do love, and that might have been one of these things where Vlad was initially like skeptical on the idea, and then somebody pitched it to him. They did research, and they're like, actually, this is pretty incredible. And so that could be part of what we're seeing here.
Or he knows how to Vlad understands media. He was on a startup podcast that Jason Calacanis is like dedicated his life to startups. Maybe he pitched a idea positioning Robinhood in the world of startups just to kind of gain more attention. And maybe they don't have any ambitions on it anytime soon. The way he was talking about it sounded like they really thought about it, but it could have just been in the heat of the moment, kind of giving out ideas. Same thing with real estate. I don't think you're going to be able to buy your house tomorrow on Hood, but it's in everyone's brain, right? We're talking about it, which is what matters.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in no way did I give him that idea. I'm sure they have thought of every single financial product and how they want to revolutionize those products. Okay. I just thought that the change in mindset was interesting. I don't know how fast we'll see something like that. It's seemingly a harder space than what they potentially have taken on already.
Did you guys see the Jim Cramer and Vlad interview?
Oh, that was great. I loved it.
Yeah.
I
think.
Like there wasn't anything like groundbreaking in it, but I liked Kramer's tone. Like he sounded like a proud dad, basically.
Well, Kramer at $10 freaking said, stay away from it because it's a gambling option. I remember covering that back in February 2024. So obviously things have changed.
Yeah, it ran up. That's why it ran up.
But I think Vlad going on the show, people were like, oh, it's bad for him to talk to Kramer. I don't think it's bad. First of all, the fact that he has the confidence to talk to Kramer, who still is a pretty big name in finance, regardless of if young people listen to him, I think it's good. B, I don't think he gives a shit what Kramer says. He's going to execute, and they're going to win regardless.
Okay, this was recorded and in front of everyone. We were at the Hood Summit, me and Roy. We're sitting there, and they go, Damon John said, oh, I learned about investing through Jim Cramer, and everyone booed. Everyone in the crowd just started booing.
Yeah.
And then he's like, what, you guys don't like Jim Cramer? I thought he was like your guy. And then everyone was like, no. And then Vlad's like, who here watches Jim Cramer? And everyone was like, no. And then he's like, who here watches YouTube? And then the whole thing popped. Like it was all YouTube. And I think he asked about TikTok as well. And there was nothing, but yeah.
Well, see, that's a good thing. He's able to embrace all types of media, right? So the legacy audience that watches Kramer got exposed more to Robinhood based on him doing that interview, but the millennials that watch YouTube, it's just different audience. But I just think he doesn't care. I mean, he did another interview with Barron's, with Yahoo Finance. He did an interview with me after the earnings. We got to talk for a couple of minutes. Like, I think he's willing to talk to anybody who's willing to listen. And I think he's done like 30 podcasts in the past year.
Dude, when you handed him that bell, I was watching that whole thing. That you handed him that bell, and he was like,
He was like, what the fuck do I do with this?
I didn't understand what it was.
Dude, I thought of that idea on the spot. I was like, wait, I have a bell in my pocket. Let me do. Like, I just was so just like heat of the moment. But okay, let's talk about that. How did you guys feel asking a question on the earnings call?
That was awesome. I still think, people are like, oh no, people get to do that on like X, with smaller companies or through Say Technologies, which Robinhood owns. I think that this was the first time that retail, us, got to ask questions like that alongside analysts ever. And I think that it signifies, I don't know that many companies are going to follow that anytime soon, but like we saw it with Alex, Chris, and PayPal. Like I got that interview,
Yeah,
and had Palantir, had Robinhood, and there's others as well, Shift4, not kind of led the way with that. More conservative companies, and PayPal certainly is, would not have done that. And I think that there's a lot more to come. And it's a great thing for retail overall. More transparency, more access, and not just for the three of us. So I felt like that was like a retail moment and a big win, not for me alone personally or you guys, but for all of retail. And that's really the company that I think Vlad set out to create with Robinhood, was a company where retail, well, certainly them, but retail wins. And I know the GameStop debacle stuff took some of that away, but I feel like that they've regained a lot of that, if not all.
Yeah, they are so retail focused. It's crazy. I mean, I think if they would just, they might even get to a part where they don't even let Wall Street ask questions. They just do it all with retail. The gold event, they're just inviting over retail. Like that from what Hood Summit was. I mean, there was some Wall Street guys, but like I think a third of the audience was just like their customers, like not even guys with cameras or anything. Just like, oh, I bet on Robinhood sometimes. Like not even shareholders. Just like I use them. I like buying crypto companies.
Yeah. I met a dude that like he owns a lumber mill, like a small family-owned lumber mill, and like he shared with me like how he was using Robinhood, but like he doesn't do anything on X or he just, that's who he was. And there's a bunch of dudes like that. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was great,
dude. I just think Vlad is fucking cool, bro. The fact that he let us ask those questions, the fact that he let me do a little interview with him for a couple minutes after. The fact that they made the press conference or the conference call like a Game 7 press conference in an NBA series. I mean, dude, who's fucking doing it like Robinhood? They're just different, bro. They're just so, obviously, I think they were probably influenced by Palantir's earnings call as well. They saw how well the video format worked, but they took that idea and they ran with it.
That's
right?
fine. They iterated quick.
Bro. And they made it exciting. I think it's really cool.
Yeah. What about next quarter? You think they're going to do it again? Do you think they're going to have the Palantir analysts come on video as well?
You mean, are they going to have video for us if we get that?
Yeah. Well, I didn't just mean us, but I mean like for Wall Street or.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, some companies have done that before. Not many, but I don't know. Maybe they do it. Maybe they don't. I guess we'll find out. But I do think they want to keep this theme running of retail of us asking questions in perpetuity, right? Like, because if we're going to keep analyzing the company, they probably want us as analysts. So I think we so can we talk about the heart beating anxiety of asking a question? Like I did not know my question till 2 minutes before I had to go live. We were in our private chat and we couldn't figure out, do we unmute? Like, how do we call the number? Yeah, it was like a bunch of technical stuff. And then finally, Tanner was like, all right, here's the question I'm thinking of. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't have a question yet. Then I came up with something. But I think it was good questions at the end of the day.
Just to reiterate, I was the only one that had a green candle during my question. So
that's true.
Good. I wonder who they're going to invite back.
Dude, that's because your question was easy. You're like, oh, tell us how good crypto is. Like me and Roy actually asked the fucking hard questions. You know what I mean? That's why I went bed.
I don't even remember what your question was.
My question was, describe the dynamics between interest rates and this Goldilocks zone. What if happens if rates fall? Yeah, it was like a hard-hitting question. Roy was like, when the fuck are you guys going to Singapore? You keep talking about it, but when it's going to happen. And then you were like, what's so crypto's so awesome? Tell me more how awesome crypto is, guys. And then Vlad was like, that's a great question, Tanner. So anyway, our crypto business.
I made fun of Evan. I saw Evan. I was joking with him with his question because he came on just like he hosts every space that he's a part of. And so whenever he was in this call, he was like, yeah, so we've been talking about, and I was like, we have not been. You are a guest. Like, I just thought it was so funny, man. Like, he's great. But
in all seriousness, Tanner's question was actually really good. Tanner was basically like, how are you guys going to increase the take rate on crypto? And they said
just where's it going?
Their answer was that they're just going to keep experimenting with it, right?
Yeah, and they created a new product as well, which I don't remember what it was. There was some order exchange flow thing, but that's helping them, price crypto differently than what they were doing before.
Right now, they're at 0.5%. Coinbase is at like 1.2. If they even get to 0.7, 0.8%, and no one's actually going to notice, dude. Like, no one's really going to notice that 0.3, but it's going to make such a big difference.
I think Coinbase is much higher than 1.2. Where did you get that number?
That's what I could be wrong. It's not more than 2%. Yeah, it's not more than 2%. That's what I thought. It's not more than 2.
But here's the thing: it's even higher than that. So Coinbase is at 1.6. They're also factoring in their Coinbase One subscriptions, which they offer 0 trading fees. So there's a decent growing percentage of their volume that they're putting no fees on, and yet they're still, so much higher than Robinhood. Like they're just gouging their retail investors' eyes out.
Yeah.
And then on their institutional side, it's like drop like right at the floor, 0.03 or 0.04. It's so incredibly low. So if the market continues to grow, and then Coinbase during their earnings was highlighting just how amazing they were growing their market share. It's like, Robinhood like doubled or more than doubled their speed of growth. So if Coinbase 2X's, it seems that Robinhood 4X's. I mean, it's just, they are the crypto company now. They are the captain now.
Yeah, I mean, Coinbase did 90 billion of volumes, 94. Robinhood did 70. Robinhood is not global. Coinbase is. And Coinbase has 10x the assets, the coins. Like, it's a no-brainer that people are obviously going to Hood when it comes to retail crypto trading over coin. Maybe they can innovate in that space and maybe even make that more attractive.
I'd love to make another video on it, but it just doesn't get any views. But I think it's an absolute amazing thing to focus on. It's just 0 people care, it seems.
I would watch it. I watch all your Robinhood videos. I watch all of them. So
thanks.
No, I do. I actually do. Like I watch your shit. Yeah, in general, look, earnings were good. Stock price reacted negatively because of the downfall. I think it's a buy the dip. I've been buying the dip. I'm buying the $9,500 spread for January 2027. So I do think in 2 years we get closer to 100. Here's the final question we can end on. Do you guys think we get into the S&P on Friday?
Is it this
wow,
Friday?
It's that soon, eh?
Yeah, that's what I heard. Let me confirm. But
I knew it was
March.
Yeah,
I thought it was the end of March.
It's usually the first Friday. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me check. But I guess the same question. Do you think we get in March?
Probably, yeah. One of the other front.
Really? You think we get in March?
Why not?
Well,
I don't think we get in March.
Yeah. They had, so there's several things. Institutions own a lot of this, which helps. They're very impressed by Robinhood. The stock prices run up, which doesn't hurt. They had an absolutely ridiculous blowout at the water quarter. They seem to be front and center of like the market, which is bad on really red days like this. And a lot of their competition, like some of their competition got in, Workday got in. I thought that was one of those front runners. Dell already got in from 2 quarters ago. The trade desk was one of those that I thought was a very high likelihood to get in this past quarter. They put up a quarter, and I know that we don't know exactly like how they choose. We know the minimum qualifications, but I have to think that like some weakness. If you have 2 companies that are basically like fairly equally ranked, Robinhood and the trade desk, and one has a just absolute ridiculous quarter, and the other one misses pretty good and has a weak quarter and weaker guidance, out of those 2, you're going to pick the one that was stronger. Could be wrong. Maybe the trade desk gets in, and they absolutely do deserve to get in. The hard thing to predict is we don't know how many openings there are. And there's, I'd have to look at my predictions from last time, but I think that there's like 8 companies I was looking at as potential candidates, and one was not eligible. I was wrong on that. That was HIMS. So
Yeah, and the requirements went up, by the way. The market cap requirement's now 20.5 billion.
What? When did that happen?
January.
Oh shit! They're getting serious about this.
Yeah, it goes. It's like if the bottom rung goes up, it goes up. They're always striving for more. So,
Tanner, you think we get in March?
yeah, I'll say yes. They do. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't.
I'm saying no. I think it's too early, bro. I don't think the committee is going to let them get in this easily. I think they're going to make them wait.
Why?
Because at the end of the day, I don't know if the committee sees them as a serious company yet, even though obviously we do. I think it's been 1 year of execution, 2024, maybe till the middle of 2025 or end of 2025. They think, all right, they're like becoming legit. And then I think maybe they want to see how Robinhood handles some volatile times in the market, or does Robinhood go back to $20 if we have a bear market? You know,
you're right, Amit. It is coming up. Is it this Friday? Wow, I need to do some work.
No, it's supposed to be the third. Oh no. So here's the third Friday is when the rebalance happens, but I think the first Friday is when they announce it. So I do think we get the announcement this Friday.
Yeah. So AppLovin is probably pretty high up there, and they've done quite well as a company, but also as a stock. Coinbase is also eligible, and Block is, but I don't think Block's going to get in now. And I know people that are Block shareholders think I'm just biased, and I am. They're absolutely right.
Yeah. Roy says if Block gets in, sell the S&P.
Vertiv, VRT, there's a good chance that gets in there as well. Datadog has a chance as well. Apollo already got in, so that one's off. Monday might be eligible, probably a little bit early for Monday.
Wait, why is it early for Monday but not early for Hood?
They hadn't had. I think they just hit a full year of profitability.
So did Hood.
Yeah, these are a lot of good companies. I don't know, actually. Maybe I should.
Hood's been eligible for. This will be the third time that they're eligible. The first time it was like, yeah, they're eligible, but it's so new. Like last time it was. I thought that they might get in. I actually thought there was a good chance. It's just the fourth quarter. This might be the fourth quarter. But yeah, there's that's the hard thing is like if there was like 3 good companies, like Robinhood is one of those and it's getting in, but there's a lot of good companies and there's always like some Dockers or something company out there that I'm like overlooking and I don't even think about. Always that gets in. So there'll be one of those. KKR was one of those 2 previously that I just didn't realize wasn't already in. And so, yeah, good chance. I think that maybe, well, it's tough too. Like which do you think that they prefer to have is Coinbase or Robinhood? I think
Robinhood.
Yeah.
If Coinbase gets in before Robinhood, I'm going to piss my own pants. I mean, that would be such a surprise. Dude, they have no diversification of their revenue. So if crypto goes down, they get crushed. At least Robinhood gets to, see good growth on 2 different markets. Like, I mean, that is something amazing. Their balance sheet is pristine. Like, they got so much freaking cash.
Yeah, dude, if they pick Coinbase, I don't want to go off on Coinbase because you already went off on Coinbase enough, Tanner, but there's no way Coinbase is a better business than Robinhood.
Can I make some comments about Coinbase really quick just to make sure that my one, I think the CEO, founder, Brian Armstrong of Coinbase is a 10 out of 10 CEO.
Great.
Absolute perfect CEO. Okay. I think that institutional volume, institutional crypto apps development, everything will all be done on crypto. On Coinbase. Coinbase Prime is a real product. I don't believe in the company. I think that the retail business will slowly die as better tools get created. However, there is one caveat to that where if equities start to be tokenized, that they could end up diversifying their revenue and actually get a head start on other businesses as they come to crypto rather than them having to go to them. Those are my thoughts on Coinbase right now.
I agree with everything you said. I agree with everything. Yeah, I also think we would see more bullish option flow if if they were going to get announced on Friday. Like, I think people would be buying the $50 call or $60 call or something. Like we would just see, and we haven't seen that. We're seeing that for August, not for March. So someone did buy $47 million of S&P 500 calls in the money 510 today, though, at the close. So someone is pretty bullish on the market. But yeah, I don't know. I think we tend to see more volatility on the option side on that.
And one thing to note too, because I know probably a good number of people here are in Palantir, or at least saw that massive run up after inclusion, both in the S&P 500 and NASDAQ. It tends to be less of that when it's heavily institutional owned, and Robinhood is, especially relative to Palantir. So it's not that it wouldn't get any bump, but yeah, don't expect it to go up like it did on earnings, so like 20%. It could happen, but I just would not bet on that.
It might get sold off really quickly if it does, dude, because people still know it's a volatile, crappy market right now. And with Trump and tariffs, like everything's so not bearish, but definitely choppy against equities going higher. And that's what Hood needs. They need assets to go up to benefit from that volatility. They can benefit on the downside, but it's a one-time benefit, because if shit actually goes down, people stop trading. So you get that 1/4 of some revenue, which is what happened in 2021 on crypto. They had 230 million in 90 days. They pumped up for like 3 days in terms of their stock. And then the street realized, holy crap, we're in a crypto winter. Like, we got to sell this thing off, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Bitcoin's now sitting at under 84. Just like, oh, what a switch.
Yeah. Unlike last time, even in a crypto winter, I think that the dip gets bought for Robinhood. I don't think we get nearly as low as what we did last time.
I agree.
And by the way, Amit, on your earlier stream, you'd mentioned that the person that had that leveraged Bitcoin and Ethereum play, if it went down, I think $2, that they were just liquidated.
Mm-hmm.
If that was not $2, 2%, if that was like based on insider trading, like I have the opposite take. You're hoping that they took profits and they got out. If it was insider trading and they knew that was happening, I hope they didn't get out in time, that they got freaking wrecked. Because that's what if somebody just made a speculative bet, hopefully they made their money, they got out. But the insider stuff is it's got to stop. It's ridiculous.
Well, because I think it's insider trading. For those that don't know what Roy's talking about, it's someone who, yeah. So this random person took out a $200 million leveraged bet on Bitcoin and Ethereum right before, literally hours before Trump made the announcement about the reserve. I think they sold immediately into that, Roy. I don't think they held.
Probably, which is frustrating.
If they got greedy and held, then then they deserve to lose everything, right?
Yeah. I mean, if they did it on insider stuff, they deserve to lose it all. Like, it's just, that's scummy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
We are literally, I mean, we are living through one of the craziest times of our life, where Trump is pumping crypto coins that his advisors have equity stakes in via third-party investments, and that his sons are telling people to buy the dip. I mean, it is insane what's going on.
Isn't Hood
benefits from all of it?
Like,
Hopefully Hood benefits from all of it, is the only thing I can say.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, obviously it's kind of crazy what's going on. So in terms of crypto volumes going down, like, yes, that's happened for February. I wonder if they're going to come back up in March. I think we all got some hope that they would come back after the Trump tweet, even if we didn't like that he's basically the commander-in-chief that's pumping coins, which is insane. But it seems like that volatility lasted for less than 10 hours, and now we're right back to 85K. So I don't know how the crypto business is going to turn out in Q1.
All right.
Cool. There it is. I will be streaming the State of the Union tomorrow, so we'll see how Hood reacts to that and how Bitcoin reacts to that as well. But yeah, Tanner, I don't know if you watch those because you're Canadian, but do you care about the State of the Union?
If I got free time, I guess.
I feel like you're an investor in the U.S. You have to watch the State of the Union, dude.
Yeah. Yep. No, all my money is, aside from my house, is all U.S. dollars.
Yeah. All right. Cool. We will be back next Monday. What is next Monday? March 10th. We'll get the Hood news on S&P hopefully on the 7th. I'll be live on the close, and we'll see how that plays out.
Whenever I become an American and this is a 51st state, maybe I can even sell my house in U.S. dollars.
Do you think you will be the 51st state, or?
If it does happen, I'm going to sell my house before, because the real estate prices here are nowhere like what they are down there. I mean, my house would crash in value. But
Dude, you should sell your house and just buy Nvidia.
Yeah.
Like, how much of a bull are you, bro? I'm just trying to figure out, because you say you're bullish, but
It is the largest stock that I hold, and I'm adding more, which I get some hate on that, because I'm like, I like SoFi, but I got a full position right now, and they're like, and yet he's adding to his biggest position. But I don't know. I like my house too.
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes sense. Like the biggest stock you're in would have the strongest conviction, and if it's dipping and you believe it's a bargain, why wouldn't you add, even if it's the largest? Admit, I know it's a Hood Weekly, but at what level would you start maybe DCAing or adding to Palantir?
I would say 65-ish is when I get really excited for it. If we get there, if we consolidate over the next couple months in this range, I don't have a problem DCAing. I'm just not convinced we're going to consolidate in this range yet.
Yeah.
But yes, and I said this in a post on Twitter in January. I was like, 60 to 65 is like where I like it. I didn't think we would run up to 125 and then come all the way back down like this. But yeah, at this point, given this volatility, dude, I don't know if we can hold this multiple. We're just gonna have to see over the coming weeks at this point.
Yeah. Got it in on Palantir.
The cheapest Trump gold card is if you guys take my country. I won't have to save up.
That is fair. Hood is going to be presenting at JMP's tech conference tomorrow. I'm not going to be streaming that, but we'll get some clips from that and we'll talk about it next week. So yeah, the CFO. Also, the CFO talked to another group of investors. I forgot who, but they put out a note about it. So
I'll be streaming that, by the way.
Oh, okay. So Tanner, perfect. So Tanner's link is in the description on my channel, and yeah, cool. All right, good stuff. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Not tomorrow, but next Monday. But you'll probably hear from us throughout the entire week. And we'll see you guys next Monday on Hood Weekly. All right. Bye, everyone. Have a good one.
Thanks, guys.
Later, guys.